Let's talk about number two. Number two is only the top students in the class get into their dream schools.
Our dream schools are the schools that we expose students to, whether it's an elite Ivy, whether it's a second tier or a third tier. And one of the problems, Christine, I've never been able to overcome it, is to come up with an adjective or a term that defines, and help me out because you're the wordsmith, that defines a second or third tier school that is outstanding in its ability to educate, develop, mature students in their environment. So we can't just use the word elite, highly selective, moderately select. We have to look at a landscape, but I don't have those words. So maybe over time.
Yes, because words are important. And I'm with you. I don't like those words either.
All right. Yeah, we want our students in any college list that's developed, a student should have what we refer to as a reach school, a school that's in their probability zone, and a school where they are the big pebble in a small pond. And the earlier we can start exploring those schools, the earlier students can realize that, yes, school A is in the US News and Report. And we already know and explain to our sons and daughters, people pay to get their name on that list. It doesn't mean that they have the best education, because when it really comes down to it, what the student invests in time, blood, and sweat and tears once they hit the campus is what the value they're going to have coming out the door. There's probably only 3 or 4 professions that I can think of. When you go for an interview, they actually ask you to bring a copy of your diploma so that you show that you went to XYZ school. Everybody else wants to know, number one, can you be trained to do what we want you to do for us? Do you have the skills and the ability to do it? Can you get up in the morning and be here on time? And can you put in a little extra time if we ask you to help? That's what you're learning in schools, continuing to develop your skills and personal so that you can take it to the next world. And the next world is a job in an industry you like, but maybe not the career you want. You're going to change your career 15 times over the course of how many years, and then you get to the age of 60 and you realize that you want to do your own business, so you start your own business. And then you really feel blessed, as I do. And along the way, you've done some work. Careers are there, jobs are there, but what we really want to do is find the school that we feel good in. I ask students when they're moving along in the pipeline to be investigating schools for 5 pieces of the circle. Say yes to the college. Say yes to the dress when you get married, but say yes to the college. Is it going to give you the opportunity to develop your academic and skills by being involved in the school? You start on an engineering, but you all of a sudden you don't want engineering. Does the school allow you to pivot into another hobby that you love or another area of your focus? And to me, college planning is not what your major is going to be. It's what your academic interests and what your hobbies are now, and how you can turn that into a major when you get to school. Most college apps, the Common App, asks for 3. What are going to be your 3 majors? Because they know you want to change. So it's academic development. It's personal surroundings. Is this school going to give you the space to continue to be your own personal inner self? Does it have a social environment that matches your social environment? A student came into my life, long hair, male, long hair, flannel shirt. He goes and visits the school that I know is a Ralph Lauren clean cut school. And my ask of him was, do you see yourself in that social environment? He came back and said no. So we revisited and we looked at schools that meet that. So it's academic, it's personal, it's social, it's affordable. And does it set you up to begin talking about careers and jobs by your junior year? Not the last semester of your senior year in college, but earlier. So if a school can meet those 5 characteristics or checkpoints, and you're investigating those along the way, then you're exposing yourself to a wide variety of schools. Do they have linear teaching or do they have innovative teaching? Do they have you get involved in projects right away? Are you hands-on? So a lot of that goes into falling in love with your dream school, because your dream school may be very different, and it's going to be very different than your friends, your relatives, your parents, but be on the same page. And I think the other part of falling in love with your dream school and all of this process is open communication. When you're in the kitchen and you're at the stove, or you're at the island and you're looking at each other. It's an opportunity to talk as parents to your students and students to your moms and dads about what you're thinking, not what's going to be the end, but what you're thinking. I'm thinking about this, mom. Okay. And mom is saying, yeah, that's not a bad way to go. That's not a bad approach. Let's investigate that. Versus, no, I don't think that's going to be your thing. No, that's not going to be your thing when you're getting to the 5 pieces of the circle, but not right away. So falling in love with your dream school, there's 4,600 colleges and universities in the United States and Canada, and each of those can be a dream school.
Love it. Love it. What came up when you were talking is I had lunch recently with an attorney, and he is from one of those schools that we're trying to find a new name for. He graduated from some very elite universities, and he has a very interesting job with the Department of in DC. He's just a very interesting person to talk to. And what led me to him is I'm doing a series this year on meeting with professionals, talking with them about their jobs, and giving students a career spotlight. Like, what's it going to look like if I want to do that kind of work? And so anyway, one of the things that he told me that I found so interesting is that once you get your first real job out of college, nobody cares anymore where you went. Nobody even asks. And he said, in fact, in his experience, the people who mention where they went to college, it actually hurts them. It does more harm than good when they open every sentence with, I have a PhD from. So I just found that very interesting.
And I think that holds true for students who start at the community college level and transfer into a 4-year school and finish
Exactly.
after 4 years at the school. All right. Yes, their bachelor's degree has come from the school that they're graduating from, but where they started is at the community college. And one should not be apprehensive to put that on their resume, because someone in the employment world, the hiring manager, is going to see this individual has followed a path that's developed them. And that means they can follow the path that we're looking for them to develop while they're an employee. So yeah, this is interesting. It's interesting. I always kid my son, who I'm here visiting. He graduated from Western New England. He graduated in the year when the college went from a college to a university. So he got 2 diplomas. He got 2 beautiful diplomas, and they're on back to back in the frame they're in. The frame's still in my house. It should be here. I said to Thomas, which one are you going to use? You know what, Dad? I don't need a diploma. I'm going into the Marines. What you use your diploma for is the job that you're looking to go into. So yeah, be proud of starting at community college, and be proud of finishing at a public or private school. Be proud of finishing at the school that you went to, because you put the time and effort in as a student, and that's what's going to be coming out. Same as when you're doing your high school resume. Don't put your GPA on. Put your accolades from the standpoint of your accomplishments, AP scholars or principals list. But keep that GPA in your hidden pocket, because that's something you want to bring out when you're having.
Yeah, that's good advice.
There's a lot to this, Christine, isn't there?
There is. And I love how there's going to be a lot of crossover in our talks and our videos. And there's also going to be some new things too, because you just totally, instead of phrasing it as a dream school, it's fall in love. Find this dream school that you're going to fall in love with. Go find the school that you're going to fall in love with. Don't have somebody else emotionally hand you dream school. Has to be your dream.
Yeah. College planning is dating, find the right school. And yes, at 16 or 17 or even 18, maybe you haven't done a lot of dating. Parents haven't let you. But falling in love with the school is based on your premises, not others. And you, as a student, you have to be willing to be in your class and self-identify yourself as going your own path. Parents, we have to do the same thing on behalf of our students. And it's very hard. It's very hard. I'm a dad of 4. They went in a lot of different directions. Trust me, they went in a lot of different directions. And even now, as young adults in their 30s, it's still a challenge. We have to be very conscious of listening to our own heart, mind, and soul to help our kids move forward. And yes, listen to the outside distractions, but listen to them with a filter, because we don't know what's going on when they close their front door and they walk into their house and everything that's going on. Because we want the best for our children, and we want to be able to promote the best for our children. Be very conscious of learning things, be very conscious of gaining knowledge, and asking questions. Be willing to say to professionals or to advisors like us or independent individuals, why? Why should I follow that path? Why should I only rely on this financing tool? And be able to really do some conscientious planning and processing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this has been great. Tons of information, very helpful for students, especially the younger students who have time to listen to this and digest it before they get, I call it the February freakouts, when they're high school seniors and they start to realize, oh, my list wasn't diversified enough. I didn't really think about, I got caught up in the craze that happens in the high school halls of the competitiveness of who can get the best acceptance letter. And I forgot about myself along the way. And I didn't diversify my list of schools that I applied to. And now, yeah.
And if you can encounter that earlier as a student or as a family, then you are giving yourself the opportunity to pause, step back, and say, what's next? What's plan B? What's plan C? And I will tell you, plan B and C can be just as good as plan A. So we
Yeah.
have to be
How many students have you had who've come back to you and said, I'm so glad that happened, because if it hadn't happened, this wouldn't have happened?
Yeah, that's a very good self-fulfilling process. That's probably the best validation of the work that I do with students, is when they say that. Or I wouldn't have been able to find that school if we didn't talk. Or I wouldn't have been able to find that school if you didn't step back and help expose me to those other schools. Yeah, and it's a process. You and I are not the wizards from Harry Potter. All right. So it takes time. And the opportunity to use the 18 months from an early junior through the senior year is part of that process. And if you can do a little exposure in the second semester of 10th grade, then that gets it going even earlier, because it's a process. And it's a process that's overwhelmed by everything else going on in the student's and the family's life. And that's where the stress gets going, because, oh, we can't deal with it now. Well, let's push it off. We can't deal with it now. Let's push it off. Stop. 1 hour of investing time during the week is valuable.
Yep. I like that 1 hour also, because it frees the student and the parent from the stress of, oh, we're going to get in the car and we're going to have to talk about college. So if you, as a family, if you constrain it to 1 hour a week, then everybody knows this is where we're going to get our work done. And then we don't have to talk about it when we're in the car. We don't have to talk about it every time we're together.
Right. And that applies to a lot of the process. And we can talk about that as we move forward.
Yeah. Thank you so
Okay.
much for putting in the
Yeah.
time today. It was great to see you.
You are a great interviewer. You're a great person to talk to. I know I have a hard time talking, as you can tell.
No, that makes my job easier.
We're gonna do this on a regular basis to get through the 8. And maybe if we have listeners, and listeners have ones that they want to put out there for us to talk about, they can communicate with either of the two of us, and we'll add them to the list.
Sounds like a great plan.